The other day I was watching this channel called The Little Poet. The lady's name is Susan Buchanan. I found her a couple of years ago, and her aesthetic, her cinematography, and just the artistic manner with which she does her channel are engaging. And so is she. I put a link to her page below, but I took a clip from her last video because it brought to mind for me how our past can show up at any time, how traumas that we experience from the past can so easily rear their heads in our lives without us knowing it. And in those situations in which that is resolved, we find a freedom. We find a healing in those moments. Now, Susan has somewhat of a traumatic background. And in this clip, you'll hear a little of it, so I don't want to spoil it. Let's look at the little poet and her trip to the dentist.
I had been putting off having my teeth pulled for 5 years. Yep, 5 years. I would make the appointment and then I would cancel. Finally, the doctor said the teeth are so infected, it's affecting your health. We have to go in and remove them. My mind was going crazy. That's so not like me, but I guess that's what a phobia is all about. Just the thought that somebody was going to pull teeth out of my mouth. It was just too much for me to bear. So there I was at 9 a.m. on Halloween morning, and I'm in the little room where they're going to take my teeth out. And I am, on the lounger, and there's a very young tech that is prepping me. And she puts this big hose over my face. So I'm sitting there under the lights, and I've got this hose over my face, and I started to feel not so much anxiety. I just felt alone. I felt like I was 5 years old. And my mind started to wander back when I was a very, very young girl, and I was having a baby, and I was having that baby alone. And I remember there was a nurse in the room, and I wanted to ask her if she could please hold my hand, but I didn't dare. So I just at 15 years old, I just cried. And that started to fill my head again when I was there. At 67, I am thinking back to 1970. Well, here comes the surgeon, right? I don't know how it's going to end. I don't know what's going to happen to me. I said a prayer, and I looked at this very, very young girl, and I asked her, could I please hold your hand? And I thought she would laugh at me. I mean, she didn't seem terribly friendly, but she got tears in her eyes, and she said, oh, of course. And she grabbed my hand, and she held it so tightly. And I was just fine. And it was over, and she held my hand the whole time. I asked for help, and I thought I was going to be rejected, but I wasn't. And I'm thinking about how this young girl in her 20s, how she arrived at that decision that yes, she would hold my hand, and it affected her to the point where she got tears in her eyes. So I'm thinking, maybe she'll remember that. Maybe she won't remember me, but she'll remember that feeling where she tapped into that humanity of helping someone that she doesn't know, someone that she'll probably never see again, but she was willing to help me.
I had to bring that clip to you guys because I love the way that she brought in the word humanity. humanity, where we all connect regardless of our culture, our backgrounds, our race. In that moment when it's not necessarily friendly, assistant took her hand, not only was that a moment of healing for Susan, but it was a moment of healing for the assistant. The fact that there was something that came up for that assistant just from Susan asking her to hold her hand is remarkable and profound. Now, Susan mentioned that she had a child at 15. Imagine the trauma to be 15 and giving birth and too scared to ask, will you hold my hand? And it's just so amazing how all of those memories from decades before rushed in as that assistant was putting that mask over her mouth. I just thought that this was such a precious thing for you to share, Susan. And I thank you so much for being so transparent and for being so open to discussing something so intimate and so personal as what you went through as a teenager. The takeaway here, you guys, is that our past is just lurking below the surface, and it's always in a moment of humanity that those things can become points of healing and freedom. So the next time you see someone that you just don't understand why they're worried about something, or why they're acting that way, and why are you scared of getting your teeth pulled, so to speak, I want you to remember that there's always a profound and deeply held backstory. And just because you're coming into the story at this point in someone's lives, let's show a little humanity and try to understand the backstory. Try to understand why they feel that way. They might not even know. But remember that it's so much harder to have compassion in the absence of understanding. But let's lean toward compassion anyway. I'm Dr. Linda. Always remember, your greatest power is realized in the truth of who you are. Know that truth. If you enjoyed this episode, please give the video a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Also, to make an appointment to speak with me either by video call or by phone, click the link below, and I look forward to speaking with you.